This is the La Tommy Cafe in the village of Pozieres, and it may look like a spot where you can just get a cup of coffee and a baguette, but come and have a look at this. The local owner has spent decades collecting material from the battlefields in this region, and now it's absolutely extraordinary. I mean, just have a look at some of the things we've got around us over here. I mean, the shells. These shells were collected from the fields around Pozieres. There's 20,000 in this field alone, and they represent the number of shells fired on Pozieres village in a single day during the war. 20,000 of them, all collected from nearby. But it just gets better. Look what's down here. They have basically recreated an entire trench system in the backyard of the cafe. Now, it's not pristine, it's not a museum, it's not trying to be a museum. What it is just showing you how much stuff is lying around and how this would have all come together in a trench system. So it replicates the claustrophobia, it replicates the dank, the darkness. I mean, just look at some of the stuff here. There's a German helmet that this would have been picked up from the fields. This would have been worn by a German soldier during the war. Just extraordinary. I'm holding it in my hands, living history right there. And look, for comparison, here's a British helmet. So you can see the difference between even the shape, the construction of the British and the German helmets. The German one, much more effective. The British helmet, not quite so good, but it's a standard design. I mean, this is recognisable from the First World War and the Second World War. And again, this would have been worn by a soldier during the war. Oh, and just look what we've got around here. We've got mortars, we've got dummies wearing uniforms. It's just extraordinary, the amount of detail, the amount of stuff that's here. And this is just from looking around in the fields outside Pozieres. Imagine what is lying around in the battlefields of the Somme. This is a great example here of technology and innovation during the First World War. This is called a screw picket. It was for holding barbed wire in front of the trenches. And at the start of the war, these were just poles that would be bashed into the ground by a hammer. But you can understand that a man out at night time laying barbed wire trying to hammer in one of these pickets soon became a target for enemy machine guns. So they came up with this great innovation. They put this screw attachment on the bottom, they made them this screw shape, and it meant that they could be put in the ground and then screwed into place silently. And so every night out on the battlefields, out in no man's land, you would see working parties going out with these screw pickets and laying barbed wire entanglements, hopefully silently, thanks to the screw picket design. So we've just seen the British side over there, and as we come through here, we're on the German side. It's really quite extraordinary, the work that Dominic has done to set this up. So now we're in the German side of the trench, and all the gear here is German. So these are German rifle grenades that we have here. So the pole goes down the barrel of the rifle, especially reinforced rifle because there was a lot of pressure on it, and then a blank round would fire this out of the rifle to propel the grenade much further than an individual could throw them. This is incredible here as well. We've got trench armour. This is actually going back to the medieval ages almost. This is armour that they would use in the frontline trench in the hope that if a shell landed or a sniper fired at them, they would be protected. So it worked with varying levels of success, but that's very, very rare to find that, especially in good condition like that is. Just absolutely extraordinary. German machine gun rounds littering the floor. I don't know if a trench would have been quite this messy during the war, but it certainly gives you a good idea of the gear, the equipment, and the way the soldiers lived during the thick of the fighting.
I'm Mat McLachlan, and thanks for watching Living History TV. Don't forget to subscribe for more great history content.